win, go win, go win, go win, go win, man, go win.
Let's transition to one of my favorite segments of the week. It's the Wise Picks. It's my NFL Week 4 Wise Picks. In Week 3, I went 7-9, so I was not happy with my record in Week 3. I expect to have a better outcome in Week 4. Let's start off with the matchup in Dublin. It's the 2-1 Minnesota Vikings traveling to Dublin to take on the 2-1 Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a 9:30 a.m. kickoff. The over-under is 40.5 points. I have not been impressed with the Steelers so far this season. Now, they scored 21 points against the Patriots last week, but their offense, they didn't really do much in the second half against the Patriots. Their defense finally came alive, and they held Drake May in check in the second half of that game. The Vikings, they dominated the Bengals in Week 3. Isaiah Rodgers had the game of his life, but this is going to be a very, very competitive game. I'm going to roll with the Steelers to beat the Vikings in Dublin because of their experience at quarterback. I'm going Steelers over the Vikings. I'll go Steelers 21, Vikings 20. The 0-3 New Orleans Saints are traveling to Buffalo to take on the 3-0 Buffalo Bills. The Bills are favored by 16.5 points. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff in Buffalo. The over-under for this matchup is 47.5 points. This is going to be an annihilation. I'm not going to spend much time on this game. I'm rolling with the Bills to beat the Saints. I'll go Bills 45, Saints 10. And if you are a betting man or woman out there, go and take the Bills with points. Don't even think twice about it. And take the Bills over 3.5 touchdowns. They definitely will have that for the game. It's an AFC South battle in Houston as Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans are traveling to Houston to take on C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. The Texans are favored by 7.5 points. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff in Houston. The over-under for this matchup is 38.5 points. Listen, I don't understand what the hell happened to C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans have completely fallen off. And offensively, they have become a shell of themselves. They are not a good offense. And I like DeMeco Ryans as a head coach. And I think he's a great defensive mind. But I'm hoping he can get it together because I don't want Texans fans to start whispering about whether or not DeMeco Ryans is the right head coach that can lead them to a deep playoff run. And so the Texans, they have not played well offensively in a very, very long time. And they're 0-3. This is essentially their season. This is their season. Cam Ward, this is his first year starting for the Titans. The Titans just want to see if Cam Ward is their franchise quarterback. And because the Texans are so desperate, I expect C.J. Stroud to take care of business against the Titans. I'm going Texans 28, Titans 17. Big game for the Texans this week. The 1-2 Cleveland Browns are traveling to Detroit to take on the 2-1 Detroit Lions. The Lions are favored by 8.5 points. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff in Detroit. The over-under for this matchup is 44.5 points. The Browns had a terrific win against the Packers in Week 3, and they held the Packers offense in check. The Lions, they have done a tremendous job the last 2 weeks, dominating the Bears in Week 2 and manhandling the Ravens in Week 3. And Sonic and Knuckles, they had great performances in Week 3 against the Ravens and David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. And so I expect the Lions to beat the Browns, but I do believe it's going to be a competitive football game. I'll go Lions 21, Browns 14. The 2-1 Washington Commanders are traveling to Atlanta to take on the 1-2 Atlanta Falcons. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff in Atlanta. The Commanders are favored by 1.5. The over-under for this matchup is 44.5 points. The Commanders had a very impressive win against the Raiders last week at home, and they did not have Jaden Daniels. Marcus Mariota played really, really well in Jaden Daniels' absence. And I think Mariota is a really, really good backup quarterback. Falcons, they had a terrible performance last week against the Carolina Panthers. They didn't even score 30 points. They were pathetic last week against the Carolina Panthers. And so they have nowhere to go but up. And I'm going to roll with the Falcons in an upset over the Commanders. I'm going Falcons 24, Commanders 17. The Carolina Panthers, who are 1-2 on the season, they are traveling to New England to take on the 1-2 New England Patriots. The Patriots are favored by 5.5 points. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff in Foxborough. The over-under for this matchup is 43.5 points. I believe the Patriots are a slightly better football team than the Panthers are. So with that being said, I'm rolling with the Pats to take care of business and hold serve at home. I'll go Pats 20, Panthers 17. The 3-0 LA Chargers are traveling to New York to take on Jackson Dart and the 0-3 New York Giants. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff in New York at MetLife Stadium. The over-under for this matchup is 44.5 points. This is Jackson Dart's first start. The Chargers have a very, very good defense, and Jim Harbaugh has Justin Herbert playing elite football at the quarterback position, and I expect the Chargers to take care of the Giants. And I think it's going to be a pretty decisive win for the Chargers. I'll go Chargers 28, Giants 13. The 2-1 Jacksonville Jaguars are traveling to San Francisco to take on the surprisingly 3-0 San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are favored by 2.5 points. It's a 4:05 kickoff in San Francisco. The over-under for this matchup is 47.5 points. Listen, the Jags, they had a really, really impressive win against the Texans last week. They had a very disappointing loss against the Bengals in week 2. But I believe that the Jags, they see a really, really good opportunity right now to try and take control of the AFC South, considering how the Texans are currently struggling. And I'm going to get to my Colts-Rams game here in a bit, but I do not believe the Colts are going to continue to play at the level that they're playing at. So I think the Jags, they see an opportunity right now in the AFC South. And the 49ers, they're dealing with a ton of injuries. I don't know if Brock Purdy is going to play in this game. I know he has practiced this week. They still don't have Brandon Ayuk. They lost Nick Bosa for the season. I think the Niners have too many injuries right now. And George Kittle still is out as well. I'm going to roll with the Jags in a very close, competitive game against the 49ers. I'll go Jaguars 27, Niners 20. The 3-0, surprisingly, Indianapolis Colts are traveling to LA to take on the 2-1 LA Rams. It's a 3.5 point spread for the Rams as the favorites in this matchup. It's a 4:05 p.m. kickoff. The over-under for this game is 49.5 points. Listen, prior to the season, if you would have told me that the Colts would be the undefeated team coming into this game, and the Rams would be the team that has a 2-1 record, I would have said you have lost your damn mind. But here we are. Colts are 3-0, and Shane Steichen has Daniel Jones playing some really, really good football. Right now, I think the quarterbacks that are playing the best in the NFL are Justin Herbert and Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is playing some really, really good football, but it's not going to last. I'm expecting the Rams to have a bounce-back performance and beat the Colts in LA, and I believe the Rams are going to win this game pretty decisively. I'm going Rams 30, Colts 17. The 1-2 Chicago Bears are traveling to Vegas to take on Geno Smith and the 1-2 Las Vegas Raiders. The Bears are favored by 1.5. It's a 4:25 p.m. kickoff. The over-under for this matchup is 48.5 points. I believe this is going to be a high-scoring affair. They're out there in Vegas, in that dome. So I expect Caleb Williams and Geno Smith to have two big-time passing performances in the passing game for the Bears and the Raiders. But I expect Geno Smith to outlast Caleb Williams. I'm going Geno Smith 31, Caleb Williams 27. Monday Night Football, we have a doubleheader as the 0-3 New York Jets are traveling to Miami to take on the 0-3 Miami Dolphins. It's an AFC East battle. The Dolphins are favored by 2.5 points. It's a 7:15 p.m. kickoff. The over-under for this matchup is 45.5 points. Neither one of these two teams are going to be in the playoffs. I had the Dolphins making the playoffs prior to the season, but I believe that the Dolphins, they are not playing good football whatsoever, and they are headed in the wrong direction. But I do believe they're going to beat the Jets, but I still don't expect them to make the playoffs. But I think they'll beat the Jets this week in a very competitive game. I'll go Dolphins 23, Jets 20. The 2-1 Cincinnati Bengals are traveling out west to take on the 1-2 Denver Broncos. The Broncos are favored by 7.5 points. It's an 8:15 p.m. kickoff on ESPN. The over-under for this matchup is 44.5 points. Listen, the Bengals got their asses kicked last week by the Minnesota Vikings. And Isaiah Rodgers had the game of his life against the Bengals. He had 2 defensive touchdowns for the Vikings. He pretty much dominated that game. The Broncos, they had a very, very disappointing loss against the Chargers in week 3, but they were very competitive in that game. They were competitive. And the Broncos, they beat the Titans week 1. I was more impressed with the Broncos losing to the Chargers in week 3 than beating the Titans in week 1. They did not look good against the Titans in week 1. And then they lost week 2 to the Colts on a game-winning field goal by the Colts. But I had the Broncos as a playoff team coming into the season. And I believe right now, Bo Nix is clearly a better quarterback than Jake Browning is. Sean Payton is clearly a better head coach than Zach Taylor is. So I'm rolling with the Broncos to beat the Bengals in primetime on Monday night. I'll go Broncos 28, Bengals 17. Those are my NFL Week 4 Wise Picks.